I actually got this question because on my main YouTube channel, I talk about Ninja Gaiden and Ryu specifically, and then we talk about the dragon lineage that he's a part of, etc., etc. The weapons he's got, the skills he has, the abilities he has, what have you. And one of the questions that I received was, how powerful is Ryu Hayabusa without the Dragon Sword? And I think this could be answered in a couple different ways because, there's so many different games, right? So you have Ninja Gaiden Black, you have the DS game, you have 2, 3, 4, Yaiba, he's barely in Ragebound, and then you have like the NES games. And, you know, if Ryu didn't have the Dragon Sword and he just had some other sword, that answer changes very, very much across those games because he gets more powerful, more experienced, etc. Like, for example, Ryu at the beginning of Ninja Gaiden Black, he has the Dragon Sword. He doesn't have the Eye of the Dragon, and he loses to Doku, who is equipped with the Dark Dragon Blade, which is like at the time, you know, you know, known to us that it's one of the most powerful weapons in the series. And Ryu loses. But I don't think that fight goes really any different for that young Ryu with some other sword to go against Doku and his cursed blade that he has when you fight him the first time. I think that fight is either in Doku's favor, very a very close fight, um, or they're dead even. But he's not going and beating the Emperor. He's not going and beating Awakened Alma or something like that. Because, I mean, all of those took the true Dragon Sword, and we're talking about him without the Dragon Sword. So then if you fast forward to when Ryu doesn't have the Dragon Sword, which is part of Ninja Gaiden 3, where he has to go use a sword from Hayate, and then eventually he wants, some heavier firepower, so he goes and gets the Blade of the Archfiend. That is another tell of like, hey, Ryu is, he beat that adaptive dinosaur. He beat the region of the mask. And granted, he had this dragon sword during that fight, but like he's beating these helicopters. He's beating all these alchemists. He beats the proto goddess, that Lovelace turns into when she gets pushed into the thing to go adapt and become their prototype. And Ryu still beats her. I I don't know at that point, that later Ryu, if he is going I don't think he's going to be able to beat the Emperor, I guess specifically. The main bad guy for most of the first game. I don't see Ryu without the Dragon Sword defeating the Emperor unless he got the Blade of the Archfiend. The Blade of the Archfiend is going to be like the next sword that Ryu wants, which is why he grabs it. And then it's able to combat with the goddess. So, like, that's a different question. If Ryu has the Blade of the Archfiend and he's against the Emperor, I could see, like, by power, it's possible. But the Dragon Sword, has more in power, and it is meant to get rid of evil, right? Where the Blade of the Archfiend, like, is evil. And they're different, like they're similar power, where the Dragon Sword comes out on top when it's in its empowered form. And so yeah, I don't think Ryu, I think the Emperor fight is a lot closer than I want it to be. And then the Archfiend, I'm on the fence if Ryu can defeat him with the Blade of the Archfiend, which you would think that he would be able to take away some of the power from that sword, seeing as he literally breathed into it and gave it some of its power, or all of its power. And I'm not seeing Ryu coming out on top in that specific situation? Very interesting question, though. Let me know what you guys think on how powerful Ryu is without the dragon sword. Because when he fights the goddess, he is able to disarm her to be able to get the dragon sword to defeat her. Because the blade of the Archean breaks. So he doesn't win that fight unless he gets the sword back. That's kind of the thought there. But let me know what you guys think. How powerful you think Ryu is within the series if he does not have his dragon sword.